Welcome to First Down Sports. As always, I'm your host, Ray Dunn. Sitting down at the far end of the table is my brother, Chris.
How's it going,
Also sitting to my left is our producer, Andy Jardine.
Hi.
Beautiful. Back on sound and audio, we've got Nikki Dunn.
Hello.
Hello.
Greetings, Nick.
Now, before I forget here,
Salutation.
we've got to send out a quick shout out to our sponsors. If it's a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you get the point. Get yourself some Moose Light. This stuff is scary good.
So scary.
And if you're a sports team, an organization, you're looking for hats, shirts, pens, whatever, go see our buddies at Doyle's Corporate Image.
Doyle rolls.
And lastly, if your kitchen sucks, and you know living in Moncton, New Brunswick, it probably does,
Yep.
make sure you go out and get yourself some Done Right buffalo sauce.
Done
Whoa,
right.
Whoa, what?
Done right sauce.
Oh, so you've gotten rid of the buffalo.
We already talked about this, Ray.
Oh, yeah, sorry. So it's just Done Right sauce.
We just did the Canadian show.
Oh.
I know, but see, these listeners may not have listened to that.
Yeah.
So
True.
I just thought I'd
That's
give you a... Yeah, so it's Done Right sauce now.
Because there's going to be other types of sauce, all done right.
Yes.
You're going to be able to have sauce for your steaks, your pork chops, fish, whatever the case may be.
Yes, that's right.
All right.
Yeah.
There you go,
Sassy.
folks. Done Right sauce.
And it's easier for our dad.
And
Yeah, Ray Senior will get this one.
there you go. I might
Yeah.
even get it at some point.
Done sauce right. Done.
All right, so we have to have a little follow-up. It's been, Chris, you didn't. I didn't hear from you all weekend. We had a big weekend. We're going to get into the games a little bit.
Yep.
Last week, something came up. You weren't able to make our show last week. What's
Yeah.
going on this week? What's been going on?
Well, I had a little bit of snippy, and things didn't go well. Yeah, I got the cut.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So it's 100%. No more kids.
Did the doctor miss or something, or what happened there?
I'm not going to get into details about the greatest thing.
Speed. They cut the
The
wrong cord.
about the
Supposed to go with the red one. Cut the green
You
one.
seriously want me to talk about the greatest topic? And yeah, you can't.
No,
do
let's
that.
just move on. Are you feeling better now? And how was this weekend? Good.
This weekend was good. I feel like now I'm in the pink.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah.
I was hoping your voice was going to be more like Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi everybody.
Hi guys, I'm here. Hi, my name's Chris. I'm here to talk about some.
It went really well. What?
All right. So, as you guys all know, this podcast, the original podcast, is staying as is. We are going to be tackling NFL, all other major sports, various topics throughout the year.
Donald
Nothing
Trump.
changes on this, but there's no more local
Trump.
sports. So, I can't talk to you about any golf news, and luckily for you guys, golf is over. But I'm sure at some point we can fit that in somewhere in the agenda.
Just
if
do,
it does come
just
up
do
at
your
some
own
point.
segment on that, and then we'll see how
No.
the ratings are.
Oh, the ratings are through the roof on the golf. Through the roof. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So since there's no local sports, let's get into the way we used to run this show. We're going to have a little game segment here.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm going to throw out 3 true or false questions to you guys. And the name of this game is How Close Did You Pay Attention?
Ooh.
All right. All right. So this is all around the NFL in week 3.
Okay.
Here's my question to you. In week 3, there was 5 quarterbacks to throw 3 or more interceptions. True or false?
True. I know 2 of them.
I'm saying true. If it's not true, there were exactly 5, or you took it right to the brink. But
Yeah.
I want to say true.
Well,
Yeah.
it was definitely the Chargers quarterback. It was
Philip
Atlanta.
Rivers.
Yeah.
Atlanta did.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure Seattle did.
Yeah. So are we right? We got this.
It is true. Winston, Matt
Winston.
Ryan, Kaiser,
Yeah.
A Kaiser. That's it.
Philip Rivers, and Cam Newton all had 3 interceptions. It's the highest amount of interceptions in the NFL in 1 week
Yep.
in like 15 years.
Well, you're killing it, guys.
You're
Keep
killing
it up.
it. You're killing it. All right,
Killing
here's the
me,
next one
too.
for you.
Big D. Big D.
True or false? We're going to go 5 again. In week 3, there were 5 running backs to rush for 100 or more yards. True or false?
False.
Yeah, 100% false.
Yeah. There was only a couple of them.
Why 100%?
I didn't say 100%. I just said false.
I'm saying I'm 100%.
All right.
100%.
Yeah.
The answer is true, folks.
Oh,
It's true. And I'm going to give it to
a
you.
lot of letdowns, though. It's going to be a surprise.
Kareem Hunt, 172 yards.
superstar.
Yeah.
For all you Chicago fans, I told you not to take Chicago running backs. Jordan Howard rushes for 138.
Yeah.
DeMarco Murray, who I had on my bench, 115 yards.
I benched him too. Yeah.
Todd Gurley, who all three of us said would be crap this year, 113. And
he's still an
lastly,
idiot.
Devontae Freeman, 106.
He's a real deal, though.
Nice.
Come on.
All right.
Gurley's a real
All
deal.
right.
Oh, yes, he just annoys me still.
So you guys are 1-1.
All right.
Now we've talked quarterbacks. We've talked running backs. What's coming up next? Here we go.
Tight ends?
There were in week three, there were multiple receivers that had multiple receptions with negative yards. True or false?
There were multiple.
All right, let me say this again.
Yeah.
In week three, there were multiple receivers, meaning more than one.
Yeah.
That had
We had that part from the first time.
I just wanted to clarify.
Okay. All right.
There were multiple receivers that had multiple receptions
Yeah.
with negative yards.
So,
True or false?
So if we chop this up, Chris, what this means is there were more than one receiver this week that caught more than one ball in the game that went for negative yards.
But okay. Well,
I mean, I'm going to say...
I don't want to complicate it.
I'm going to say true.
True. Let's say.
Sure.
Yeah. Because I saw one for sure.
It's actually false.
Oh.
It's Jerick McKinnon, number 21 running back with Minnesota.
Is the only one.
He had 2 receptions for -1 yards.
See, my follow-up question was going to be, but were they able to rebound and get positive yards, or are you just saying they caught a pass
He just
for
means
negative yards?
they finished the game with
Yeah,
negative
I
yards.
didn't get that.
Yeah, I
finished-
didn't.
yeah.
You're right. I didn't get it even after a second time.
They finished the game
like-
with negative yards after multiple receptions.
It's like the final call in Atlanta and Detroit.
That's
Or
how.
we'll get there.
That's how close you guys paid attention this week to your NFL games.
Oh, that's about par for the course, really. Yeah.
It's not bad.
All right, let's get into some NFL games because there was this week was crazy. I can't wait to tell you about my Bills experience, but this week was crazy in the NFL. At one point in the second or third quarter, every underdog of the week was winning, and winning, not just winning, but winning big.
Huge.
Let's start off with the Buffalo Bills. The Bills pull out a huge upset against Denver, 26-16, with no running game from LaShawn McCoy. It was all done with the legs and arm of Tyrod Taylor. Chris, let's start with you. What did you think of this Buffalo Bills game?
I thought it was an exciting game. I think EJ protected the ball well. I think the D especially played well in the second half.
EJ, Tyrod?
EJ.
What?
You said EJ
Did
protected
EJ protect
the
the
ball.
ball well?
Oh, did I say EJ?
Yeah.
Sorry, I have in my notes EJ Gaines.
Yeah, EJ Gaines.
I wanted to lead into like we have
EJ Manuel.
we had the right EJ.
EJ
So
Manuel.
I blew up that joke, so I'll just move on from it.
Yeah.
So Tyrod protected the ball extremely well.
Oh, good for Tyrod.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But with White and EJ, the right EJ, there goes that joke. Picking off the Denver QB,
Simeon.
Simeon. And I thought it's really paying off their kicker. Buffalo paid a lot of money for that kicker, and the guy
Hushka.
drives a 55-yard field goal. But I think the turning point was the Von Miller doing the let's fake Tyrod, let me help you up, and do the slide the hand to the back of the head. 15-yard penalty. That was done. That was the deal.
Bonehead play of the week.
Dumb.
You know what's funny is when it took place, Jeannie and I were watching. She's, how can they throw a flag that both players are laughing?
It's unsportsmanlike.
But the referee sees the back. He doesn't see their faces when he's throwing it.
Yeah.
And if you let that slide, what's next?
That's right.
right.
You got to call it.
You got to call that. Yeah.
The referees have to make sure that fun is not a thing. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, this was my lock of the week. So
Yeah.
I only have 2 things to say about this game. 1, didn't watch it. 2, it was my lock of the week, and I was wrong. Ray,
There you go.
back to you.
Here's the thing I thought the craziest. This Bills defense is playing unbelievable. Chris is right. This secondary is a brand new secondary. So EJ Gaines, Travarius White, Micah Hyde, and Jordan Poyer. This
Cleveland Brown.
yeah,
Jordan Poyer.
yeah. These guys are fantastic secondary. But keep in mind, the Bills are doing all this while the $100 million man, Marcel Darius, isn't even playing.
Yep.
This guy has got to be cut from the bill. Like,
Too premature.
Why is he not playing right now? Injury,
well,
right?
he's injured.
Yeah.
Okay.
But right from the get-go, you know there's issues with his coaching staff because they've sent him home due to a disciplinary on the road during preseason. They sent him home on his own flight.
Okay.
Something's not gelling with Marcel Darius and this team. Keep a very close eye on this. Just to give you an idea, in order next year, if they decide to keep him on the team,
Yeah.
it's $16 million out of their pocket. If they release him,
Yeah.
$13 million is going to count against the cap, but they'll get $13 million in cap space. I'm going out to predict Darius will not be with this team in the
Well, not the way Washington
in the
played.
mid future.
Washington.
But
played
if that's the last year on his contract that has a bunch of guarantees, if he starts playing for you guys after he's healthy and shows anything this year, that's a very tradable contract. It really is, because there's teams way under the cap that would take a chance on $13 million for the guy,
Absolutely.
knowing that he'll come off the books after that. Now you won't get much,
No.
especially
but
for a defensive.
Well, the
tackle.
thing is, you don't want to release him right out because guess who needs a defensive tackle big time is New England.
I know.
But we'll worry about that later.
Give them all three.
That's Buffalo. I selected Denver to win this game all the way. I wasn't even thinking Bills. And here's a funny thing. In the second quarter, early in the second quarter, I said to Jeannie, this is the worst Bills offense I've ever seen. Worst Bills offense. I was willing to turn the game off and go play golf, and I'm so glad I decided to stay on the couch. Great game.
Stuck it
Great
out.
game.
good.
Could be a big swing.
Let's go to Cleveland at Indy. Now, this was my lock of the week,
Yeah.
Cleveland, for this game. Jacoby Brissett, he starts the game, throws for a TD, and runs for 2 in his first win as a Indy Colt.
Yep.
Andy, break down this game for us. What happened?
So it was a disappointing game. Like, I was watching it in Toronto again. Sort of, I had to watch it on my phone, But great job, DAZN. Anyway, I think what happened was, if you look at it, we allowed, I think it was 24 points or something like that, and a ton of yards in the first half. And then in the second half, it was like 3 points and almost no yards. And I think what happened was the defense was a little bit caught off guard with what Brissett could do with his legs.
Yeah. Big.
They were controlling it pretty well. T.Y. Hilton is an absolute stud, and that's going to be a theme here as to what Cleveland really needs is a legit receiver. T.Y. Hilton is a very legit receiver. Jacoby Brissett is a good enough quarterback to get him the ball when he's wide open, which this guy can get separation. But those running touchdowns in the end zone were infuriating, but they were there to be had because the defense didn't know that he had those wheels, I guess, in his second game, only his second game in this particular system. So
Yep.
I think that's what happened there. I'm not I wanted this win and I thought it was a winnable game, but I have to continue to remind myself that this is not the year that the Cleveland Browns are going to the playoffs by any stretch, and they're starting a rookie quarterback, and he just continues to show enough that you think he can turn into the guy. And you guys tell me if I'm crazy, but if you look at, and I'm not going to say like, hey, Peyton Manning threw this many interceptions and so did Troy Aikman. Those are unfair comparisons.
Yeah.
But if you go look at Derek Carr's rookie season, he started out, at this point he was also 0-3, and he actually went on to be 0-10. He had, I think he was like three touchdowns, 3 interceptions at this point. He wasn't doing very much. He was well under 60% completion percentage, but he just kept showing the team, even though it didn't have a lot of talent around him, it had a few stud players, but not enough talent to win, that he was absolutely no-brainer the guy, and I really see this possibly playing out the same way for Cleveland. So I'm not panicking. It would have been nice to get some wins. I really hope, like, these next 2 games are probably their 2 most winnable ones.
Yeah.
So I hope they can get some wins in there, because Hugh Jackson needs some wins or he's just going to quit life.
Am I correct in saying that Myles Garrett hasn't even played a snap in regular season yet?
He hasn't. The last week going into week 1 in practice, he got the back of his leg stepped on and he got a high ankle sprain, which is, a 3 to 4 week injury. He's out of the walking boot. He's running around. If he doesn't play this next game, I guarantee you he makes his debut the game after that. And I just want to draw parallels to Oakland. Like, Oakland got that second-round quarterback, and Khalil Mack, the stud pass rush player.
Big.
I think Garrett is a stud. I think he's instantly the best defensive player on the team. And if he can come in, be healthy, and make that type of disruption, they might pull off a couple wins. They're not going to have a great season, but I want to go into next year with all those draft picks thinking we don't need a quarterback.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I hope it happens.
Quick thing there. So have they done a change of the guard with Johnson over Colwell?
No. Duke Johnson is this crazy gadget. He's all over the field, man. I think he's our best receiver right now. He's making these crazy catches. It got to a point where we were so far behind in the first half that we, the power running game, which they were committed to a little early, and Crowell was running well. You just needed Duke Johnson on the field for that extra option of maybe catching the ball out of the backfield on play action, which was really working. And none of the Browns running backs are good at picking up the blitz, but Johnson's the best of them.
Right.
And they were bringing 5 every play.
Awesome.
So
Cool.
All right, let's get over to another exciting game. And I'll tell you, I was flipping over back and forth to this game, and we'll talk a little bit later about why.
Big time.
But Houston at New England. New England barely wins this game 36-33. Brady has to make a final drive and hits Brandon Cooks in the end zone to win this game. What did you guys think about how Deshaun Watson played in this game as a rookie, first time going into New England?
yeah, I don't like Watson very much, and I give him a hard time. And I saw a lot in this game that is starting to make me change my mind a little bit. I don't know that he has everything, that it's going to take to really be their quarterback of the future just yet, but he impressed the heck out of me with how he played, and he's finally starting to do it with more than his legs a little bit. You're actually seeing him go through, he's not going through 3 reads ever, but he's at least making it to his second receiver before he's making the decision to take off.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think New England kind of planned for him to do 1 read and run. So he was actually getting them quite a bit there. And then, as far as Watson goes, I haven't completely changed my mind on him yet, but he's changing. He's turning me.
Yeah.
Poise. I think the kid's got poise. I got one big note on this of that last play. When Corey Moore was defending that play against Cooks, if it was the other way around, if Belichick was the one making sure this is the last play, what I want you to do is, if it's anywhere near the sidelines, you pick up that receiver and you carry him outside out of bounds.
Yeah.
Moore had a shot at him, and I know it's convenient for somebody that's plays basically just Madden, not an NFL player whatsoever.
Yeah.
But he was right there. He went for the ball.
He's playing the ball there.
He played the ball rather than playing the man, and he had to tiptoe it in. All the guy had to do was make any body contact. There was no catch, zero catch.
You guys getting sick of Brady doing this over and over?
Oh yeah,
He's
I am, but here's the thing that I find interesting. I mean, Houston pushed New England right to the brink in the playoffs with the defense only.
Yep.
Remember, Brock was there,
and Brock,
right?
That's Brock.
But
had a lot to do with it.
But with Clowney and J.J. Watt back there, they didn't get the I think they had 5 sacks on Brady, which is pretty good, but they didn't get the pressure. They didn't make the plays downfield like I thought. Like, that defense just doesn't seem as tight as it was last year.
Well, they've got injuries in the secondary, right?
Yeah.
So what's happening is all the pressure's there, but the secondary can't hold at all.
No,
and I
that's
mean,
right.
you can't expect for you to have 4 or 5 seconds to finally make it to Brady.
Well, they stopped Gillislee for 31 yards. Brady goes 378 yards with 5 touchdowns, and Brandon Cooks goes 131 yards with 2 touchdowns. I'll tell you one thing. Anybody that got those 2 guys on their fantasy team, they're a genius. They're a genius.
I'm telling you, man, that
Genius.
fantasy team of yours is, I
218 points.
I give you a heck about it, but you do get a lot of points from 2 particular places, and if this continues for the year, you're right. It was genius. You drafted the only 2 players you need.
I know.
One quick little snippet in there is that I noticed that the change of from the playoffs to now with these 2 teams, Belichick, what they did was pick up the tempo, because at the end of those last final drives, Watt looked like he was done. Clowney looked like he was
gassed,
done.
yeah.
Watt looked like he was gassed, and I thought it was a good strategy from New England of keep these guys going.
All right, 2 more points on this game. One is Stephon Gilmore. In my opinion, watching him, he's terrible.
He is terrible.
He is terrible. And number 2 is if Deshaun Watson continues to grow during the season, which there's no question he will, do you think there's an opportunity for a rematch of these two teams come playoffs?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, the Texans have a shot to get in. I'm really banking on them finishing with like 5 wins or something because we have their first and second round picks. But no, there's a chance in that division for sure, and it could happen again. Yeah.
All right, here's a real touch. We're going to touch on this game real quick because there's not a whole lot to talk about. Miami goes to the Jets, loses 20-6. Wow. Jay Cutler says, I think this game was a real wake-up call for us.
You think?
You think, Cutler?
Yeah.
I told you guys this guy's a bum. He was going to do nothing in Miami. Andy, real quick, what do you think here about Cutler? He goes 26 for 44, 220 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you're on to something with the Cutler bashing, but at the same time, I think the Jets got a wake-up call the day before and actually listened. I mean, you know, when I was saying one of my Super Bowl predictions was that the Jets would end up not getting one of the first 2 picks because McCown, if he stays healthy, will steal a couple games. I mean, that long ball, that throw that he made where he was about to get his clock cleaned and he actually got up from it, which is like McCown's been good. Like he's playing good football with the weapons he has, which is almost nothing. And yeah, he can steal a game, and their defense played well. I mean, their defense, Cutler did them a lot of favors, but Jay Cutler, nice job.
I don't think their D is horrible.
No, it isn't.
It isn't. Defense is good. And just like you said, like McCown, he can win games. He looked good.
The thing with their defense is, I think everybody expected it to be respectable if the offense could keep them off the field.
Yeah.
And he did.
I had to go to one of our buddies, Jeff McRae, on this one because he watched it intently. And he basically just said the Jets outworked Miami. That Miami came in and simply did not play.
Well,
so I'll take that for.
All I can tell you is there's going to be no 0-16 team this year in the NFL.
That's right.
All right, this is the big game. We got into a little heated discussion before we even started this podcast.
Okay, well,
here we go. Stretch out for this one. Stretch out. Let me get my arms going here. Okay. Atlanta goes down to Detroit and comes out 30-26. They barely escape with a win. Stafford pass to Golden Tate was ruled just short of the end zone after being ruled as a touchdown. 10 seconds roll off the clock, and it ends the game. Yeah. Chris, start us up.
Well, you know, at first, I was watching that game after a few of the other games ended, and I was like, wow, Prater, their field goal hits a 57-yard field goal. Exciting as that was, they bring the game really close. They march all the way down the field, and the refs mess it all up. Gold Tate was right there, caught it. I thought it was clearly not into the end zone. The ref called it a touchdown, messed up the call. They went to instant review, and that's that dumb rule that they have in that, where they say, we got to run down 10 seconds after an instant replay. Yeah, lost the game. What a way to blow up an awesome game.
Yeah, so I'm going to make myself clear right away, and I think Chris agrees with me. We're not arguing that the right calls were made here in the end, right? This was how the game was supposed to end, but I think this shines a light on a terrible rule. Now, I get it. There are games that went the other way, which is why this rule in the 10-second runoff exists in the first place, right? My 2 points is this. I mean, you have to look at this rule again because this is just ridiculous. But
awful,
you know, for a game to end that way. But you got to make the call right. And when you don't make the call right, and you look at that evidence, now maybe you guys would disagree with me, but there were a few camera angles where you couldn't tell at all, and then there was one where you could kind of tell. But you need irrefutable evidence that the call that was made on the field was incorrect. And I've seen, you know, better evidence not get overturned because it wasn't irrefutable. So the refs blew the call. They blew the call, the first one, but they blew it. When you go back and look at the replay, it wasn't irrefutable in my opinion, so it should have stood. The fact that it didn't just shines light on like, you know, there's no good answer here, but I hate this 10-second runoff rule, and for a game to end like that, you know, it just the refs needed to get the call right, and they didn't.
Yeah. Well, there was still a chance for them to line up. They could have got it.
They could have.
9
seconds.
Here's the interesting thing about this conversation. I totally agree with you. The whole the rule of the 10-second, That's not the officials. That's a league rule.
Yes.
Okay, and the owners and the commissioner, they're the ones that set out the rules of the NFL. Okay, but here we are talking about a play that was reviewed, and the referees are getting the blame from the far end of the table, right? The referees are getting the blame for this. Let's go back to the Bills-Denver game for a second. Because you had a catch downfield. Denver makes a pass. The ball is caught. 2 steps are made with the ball. And as the receiver goes to the ground, the ball apparently touched the ground. And the refs decide, after review, because the rule that the ball touched the ground, it was called an incomplete pass. Let's break the play down. So the receiver gets it, catches the ball, takes 2-3 steps with the ball, then gets tackled to the ground. The ball hits the ground. That is a catch, fumble, recovery. That pass should never have been turned back, and the Bills got all the breaks that day.
Yeah.
And here's what I'm trying to say when it comes to instant replay. Every team gets the break sometimes, and sometimes it goes against them.
Yeah.
And for years, the Buffalo Bills have gotten the bad end of instant replay.
Okay, well,
Numerous times. In this particular case, Detroit didn't come out ahead with instant replay. Okay?
right.
This is why I'm saying we don't need more instant replay. I think we should be getting rid of instant replay. But, hold on.
Nope.
At the end of the day, Matthew Stafford made a pass to Golden Tate. Would you not put any blame on him whatsoever for not leading his receiver into the end zone?
No.
There was room. There was room for him to get that pass. This is the funny thing about a player's mindset or the average fan's mindset. Is it a referee's problem when a player fumbles a ball? No. Is it a referee's problem when a player goes offside? No. If in this particular play, the pass was thrown short of the end zone where there was room for that ball to be caught in the end zone, it's not the official's fault that the pass was not led the receiver into the end zone.
Okay, so you took us on a little adventure.
Yeah, thanks.
There. So you somehow compared this 10-second runoff rule we're complaining about to the catch rule.
Well, no, we talked about the officials ruling.
Now,
of the
hold
play.
on. Now I'm taking you for a walk. Now, Now, the catch rule is still by far the stupidest thing in the league, and nobody knows what a catch is at all. So what you're saying there, fair enough, right? But if you want to line it, and again, I don't think it makes anybody that's not a Bills fan feel better when you bring up the fact that the Bills got the crappy end of the stick and all this. But duly noted, I guess, right? But I'll use your tactics against you, and I'll ask you a yes or no question, and you give me yes or no.
Okay.
Did the refs screw up the initial call in the field?
No.
He called it a touchdown, right?
And it was wrong.
Was it wrong?
Again, hold on here.
Oh, come on.
When the game's moving at full speed,
Right.
any referee would have called that a touchdown.
Okay.
Any referee, whether it's you guys sitting at this table, whether it's me, any human eye, to the human eye, that was a touchdown.
Okay.
But when you break a play up and you really want to start looking at every score and checking replay, there's stuff like that that's going to happen in a review of when a play is broken down and reviewed by the millisecond. Stuff like that's going to happen.
I guess. I just, it's fair, but you know what? If you're telling me every official would have just called this a touchdown and it's been confirmed not to be a touchdown, then the officials need to be trained to put their eyes somewhere else, I guess. But I don't like the idea of a game getting decided like this. A game should not be decided by a 10-second runoff.
I don't like it either.
Yeah,
I don't like it either.
They should,
I'm still throwing up about it.
All right. Let's move on. I clearly won that one. So here we go.
Oh, yeah.
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh. That nice little walk.
Pittsburgh rolls into Chicago. Now, we have a huge topic that we're not even talking about. I'm going to talk about this later on. Pittsburgh goes into Chicago, loses this game 23-17. My prediction of the week, I already talked about this, the Chicago running backs, that's a fail. Pittsburgh did not look sharp right from the beginning of this. There was a huge mess up with the team where one player came out to the tunnel for the anthem,
Yeah.
An ex-Marine.
an ex-Marine.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think about this loss that Pittsburgh suffered in Chicago?
Well, let me say mine's super fast, and then I'll let you go with it. But I can tell you through years of experience watching Pittsburgh, in the AFC North, is Pittsburgh plays down to its competition. And when they do well on any particular seasons, because they have a tough schedule, I'm telling you, they play down, and they played down.
Yeah. I have a quick one, too. I didn't get to watch the game. I just watched some highlights, but it looks like a sloppy game. I noticed that there was DeCastro, the starting guard there, was saying that they're wasting offensive talent. So there seems to be an agreement by the Steelers' best players that seems to be something going on in the locker room, that they're not liking the scheme that's being presented, whether being too conservative or whatever. But that wasn't a team that shows Brown had a great game. I don't know if Bell's being used at their fullest.
Well, they've got two starting offensive linemen that are out injured right now too, which is affecting the running game.
Yeah, for sure.
A little bit, but just Ben's not been sharp, and like I said, they play down to their competition, and they take their competition for granted a lot, and sometimes they are a good enough team that they'll squeak it out at the end anyways, even though it's an ugly game. Like, we look back at their records when they've done well and everything, and we don't look at we just know what the record is, right? And we say, hey, they were really good that year. But listen, Pittsburgh almost loses a lot of games they shouldn't. That's how they roll. And today, like a team that, or not today, but on that day, like a team that had no business pulling it out managed to, because Pittsburgh really played down. Yeah.
All right, our last game that we're going to break down of the week is this one. And this was a game that most experts, including myself, didn't think there would be more than 15 points scored in this game.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about the LA Rams at San Francisco. This was a barn burner, folks. 41-39 for the Rams. Let me just throw out a couple stats to you. Jeff Goff, 292 yards.
Jared Goff, folks.
Sorry. I didn't write down the first name. Jared Goff, 292 yards, 3 touchdowns. Gurley goes 113, 2 touchdowns. We already talked about that. Robert Woods, 108 yards. And Sammy Watkins, 106 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Buffalo Bills' former receivers had great days there.
Big day.
And even over on San Fran's side of the ball, Hyde had 84 yards, 2 touchdowns, and Pierre Garçon 142 yards. This was a big offensive game. Very exciting. What you guys think of this?
It's game of the year potential, really. The only reason at the end of the year, I think NFL Network does it, where they go through the top games of the year. Like, this won't make it because neither of these teams will be playoff teams.
Yeah.
But game of the year potential, it was nonstop back and forth. The recovered onside kick at the end of it, it had everything you want. And what it really comes down to is the better team won. The team, like the Rams, have astronomically more talent than the 49ers. The 49ers were coached so well during this game. Their shortcomings showed, and they gave up a lot of points because of it, but they made a lot of plays. Brian Hoyer is a solid quarterback that will always do 2 or 3 things every game to kill you, and he did. And the Rams are starting to show that, like, the Rams are for real, and Jeff Goff. Jared Goff's a real quarterback. Like, it's starting to, whether or not he was worthy of the number 1 pick and everything they gave up to get him, still up in the air. But this guy actually looks like a real NFL quarterback now. He's putting up big numbers against, poor defenses. But you know what? That's what you got to do.
Especially with all the assets they have now.
Chris, I want to throw this question out to you then. Can the Rams win their division this year?
I think why not? I'd be surprised still. I think they still have to do some gelling, but that game's going to definitely help.
That division's not overly strong.
Well, the rest of the division is helping too, right? Because, Seattle is just not doing anything. The Cardinals look terrible.
Well,
it's going to be interesting.
Based on what I'm seeing, I don't see how the Rams can't win this division, right?
I just got a quick.
It can happen.
I got a quick soundbite on that. It's nice to finally see Woods and Watkins with a talented QB, which they didn't have in Buffalo. They killed it. Hats off. it does help that Gurley is the real deal. I think he is.
Yeah, I think the Rams have this great recipe right now where they have a quarterback that they don't need to cover up. Like a Bortles type, Goff can actually play now. We're seeing it. Will he carry the team? He doesn't have to because he's good enough that the running game has a shot and the defense is great.
It's like how Wilson did well in Seattle.
Yeah,
the running game, and I think that's why you're seeing Seattle drop off is they have no identity in the backfield, and they don't. And now you got to put it all on Wilson, which Wilson they destroyed. Like if you look at his numbers, four touchdowns, I think, close to 400 yards.
Yeah,
the guy's killing it, but still, that's not how that team wins games.
Right.
There's no identity in the backfield.
Yeah.
Week 15's week 15. That's week 15 of the
We're
CFL.
15. Holy jeez, are we missing some games?
Did the Browns have a shot at the playoffs?
Did they make it?
That's from our CFL show. Week 4 in the NFL season's coming up. We've got Chicago playing at Green Bay on Thursday night. That should be a good game.
Chicago.
There's a lot of great games coming up. There a couple real big games coming up this weekend. Detroit at Minnesota. That's going to be a fantastic game.
Oh, yeah.
And you got Oakland at Denver. That should be a really good game to see how they rebound there. Have you guys come up with your locks of the week?
I got it.
Chris, give me your lock of the week.
Well, I hope I don't steal anyone's, but this one should be a no-brainer. Green Bay over Chicago.
Over Chicago. That was my number 2.
All right.
Andy, you got your lock?
No, I'm going to do the same thing you did to me last week. I'm going to skip to you for a moment so that
right.
I can go make my lock of the week.
All right, sounds good. Well, seeing I got 218 points with my fantasy team, I see no reason why not to stick with them, and I'm going to go New England over Carolina at home.
That's fair. Yeah.
That's a good lock.
And for my lock of the week, and you guys deserve it, I'm going to pick the Bengals getting their first win of the year over the Cleveland Browns in a division game.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's going to be painful. And
well, they played well. Since he played well this last week.
Yeah.
Wow.
For a bit.
That's great. All right, let's talk upsets then. Andy, let's shake things up. How about we start with you?
Sure. So my upset of the week, since I went totally against them last week and had no belief in them, Buffalo's going to go into Atlanta.
Ooh.
And Buffalo's going to ride that momentum. And the Bills are going to beat the Falcons.
Holy mackerel, let's get this guy a shirt.
No, do not touch me with that thing.
Come on. We got a new Bills fan here.
No. I'm playing the football god odds here.
Wow.
Let's just put it that way.
Wow. Chris, give me your upset.
Well, I think this could be a big one, but seeing how they're really shutting down the run in Dallas, I'm going to go with the Rams. The Rams are going to beat the Cowboys.
Wow. Good job. That's a great
big.
pick after
That's
we
big,
just
too.
talked about them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I too, because I didn't go with Buffalo last week, and I didn't go with them in our pick 'em pool, nor did I didn't believe in them. Period. I felt bad, so I was going to take the Bills this week. But seeing Andy took that, I'm going to go with my second choice. And I feel if this guy can get his head in order. First of all, let's talk real quick. What did you guys think of OBJ's peeing on the sideline? The dog pee.
Oh, my gosh. How do you come up with that? Like, you have that in your head. Like, I don't even have anything to say about it.
I'm not even going to comment.
If this guy could get his head together and just focus on football, you can see the difference this team is with him on the field.
Oh, yeah. He is the entire team. He's going to get paid. He should get paid quarterback money. They got to give it to him.
For sure.
I'm picking the Giants over Tampa Bay in Tampa Bay this week. That's my pick.
Okay.
All right, that's your NFL stuff this week. We are going to get into some odds and ends. And I have to tell you, boys, one of the things I've loved over the last 2 days is the fact we were able to talk straight football.
Yeah.
We just had talked for a half hour about football, and I enjoyed every second of it. But we can't leave without talking about this. So on Saturday night, Donald Trump sends out his statement.
This guy.
Calling players and, SOBs, and that if they take a knee, that they should be fired.
Yeah.
The teams and the NFL, the teams and the NFL overall all came together and united. And there was numerous demonstrations on Sunday, and including last night in the Monday Night Football game.
It's not going well.
What are your thoughts on what took place this weekend, Andy?
It's disgusting. So Donald Trump is trolling the NFL. He's doing this on purpose. He's trying to spark controversy. He wants the players to demonstrate more, because so then his followers, those Looney Tunes that love this guy, whoever they are, will just spew more hate towards the NFL. Like, I think this guy thinks he can take on anybody and win, right? So instead of worrying about all the other issues going on around the world, like the lunatic with nuclear bombs and all of this stuff.
Oh, you mean Kim?
Yeah.
Oh.
So he's, no, why don't I just take on the NFL? I know ratings. I had TV shows, everything. I'm going to take on the NFL, and I'm going to use the disgusting language, things that no president should ever say.
Yeah.
Double up on it. Or double down on it, so to speak. And he's trolling them. He's trying. It's an ego trip. He thinks he can take on the NFL. Now, when you got guys like LeBron James, Kobe Bryant calling you a bum, I think he's biting off more than he can chew here. But he's doing this on purpose, and I think it's. I don't blame I wouldn't tell the players not to do it because he's trying to lure them into it. Not at all. Go ahead, do it like you should. Demonstrate it even more. It's just, this problem is way beyond football.
It's
this guy's a moron.
Chris, any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I'm just tired of politics being brought into the NFL. Like, I hear you saying that maybe that'd be a good strategy to, but I'm looking when I see a lot of the highlights, I'm going on to some of the websites, and there's some pretty harsh language going on right now.
It's crazy.
I've seen a couple of your comments, Nick, of making fun of some stuff. But it's like not anything to do football related. I'm choosing just to completely ignore it.
So
I'm not. Yeah,
you're making a great point, Chris. But let's just point it out here that you're right. Politics has no place in football, but who's bringing it there? The President of the United States of America. This shouldn't, like, the kneeling thing shouldn't even be on his radar. It should be so beneath the things that he's worried about in life that he shouldn't even be bothering to talk about it. Yet he's attacking the NFL.
You know what would have been great?
He brought it there.
You know what would have been great, though? It would have been great that nobody paid attention to that blowhard. Nobody paid attention to him. But now they got people that are leveraging, because it's like basically he's leveraging people. People are just hearing the flag. The flag's being disrespected. Yeah. Like what happened in Dallas. They didn't even kneel during the national anthem. Yeah. But people are convinced from all these articles, and the media is stirring it all up of, look what happened during, and no one's even seeing the game. They didn't do it during the national anthem. No, they kneeled before, and then they held arms in a nice symbol. Like, it was good. It was great.
I don't know that they could have gotten away with doing nothing, though. Like, this guy's calling out the owners. He's basically saying that the owners, like, he's attacking the owners and saying the owners are disrespecting the country because they won't take certain action and everything. And the Kaepernick thing and the fact that nobody would be willing to sign him just kind of set them up to lose. And he saw it and decided, I'm going for it.
Yeah.
I just think he kicked up a little too much dust outside of the NFL with some really, really big names that I think I'm not going to say blow up in his face, because nothing blows up in this guy's face. I don't know what it's going to take for him to get impeached.
Teflon.
Like, he's going to have to go on a holiday in the Dominican Republic with, somebody from Russia. I don't know. Like, it's, but
you watch what the result's going to be is it was 20% of revenue drop in the NFL. You watch it drop down even more. Yeah. I bet you it's going to be
good.
We'll see what happens. I find the whole incident very sad. I can't believe that we're in 2017 and we're still dealing with the racial tensions that we're dealing with in the United States.
Yeah, it's horrible.
It is absolutely horrendous. For those that know me well, I'm a very emotional guy, and seeing all those players taking a knee,
it was great.
And reading the Michael Bennett story. Yeah. There was a really good article written about Michael Bennett recently, and I read that article from start to finish, and I can't help but get emotional watching this stuff. So I'm hoping this is a turnaround point, and hopefully something can be gained out of what took place this weekend.
It would be nice if the NFL outsmarted Teflon Don and decided, let's go do something outside of this arena, and let's go do something community-wise, like when the Texans were doing that with all the hurricane stuff. Like, that was great.
But they are doing that all the time.
No, but more concentration of here. Let's really publicize that more.
Well, I mean,
like, I don't know.
JJ Watt, he raised $31 million in a weekend.
It was great.
I mean, come on.
Wow. Yeah. Anyway,
all right, let's move on. We've got a few more topics to get to. I watched the Green Bay Cincinnati game yesterday, and I have to tell you, I've never been more impressed with a color analyst as I am with Tony Romo.
Yeah, he's
Have
good.
you guys listened to him, and what do you think?
You want to go first?
I think he's great. There's not really much other than I love listening to him. I like the slang that the guy's got. Like he's got that kind of he's fun. He's upbeat and confident, charisma. Like I'd date him.
He's good. I think he gets a little too much credit for like predicting the plays on the field. I think you could put any experienced NFL quarterback up there in the booth, and they would tell you like, "Hey, this is about to be a run to the left." Okay, so I think he gets a little bit too much credit for doing that. However, I love that he got himself in a position to finally be able to do it because none of those other quarterbacks have a shot at being a good analyst like that. He's really good. He's good on the mic. He's entertaining. He's a really good compliment to that team. And on top of that, like you feel like you have an absolute expert helping you through the game.
Well, there you go.
Knowing what they're thinking. And he is. He's an expert.
That's exactly my point. When I'm watching that game, I feel like I'm watching the game with a head coach or a starting quarterback sitting on my couch telling me what's going to take place.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
And why certain things happen. Like, it's great. You don't even question it.
He
gets
picked up one of the plays that stands out in my mind yesterday. Bengals got the ball. The middle linebacker for Green Bay dropped towards the weak side of the line.
Yeah, that was
and
awesome.
as soon as he dropped, he picked up on it right away. He told us what was going to happen, and boom, it happened. Like, it was fantastic.
That was
really
pretty
good.
awesome.
Really good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, Andrew Luck. So, as of yesterday, watching the pregame shows, everybody was talking about that he's been taken off the PUP and that most likely week 6 was the date that he would most likely come back.
Yeah.
As of today, there's reports that he will be practicing tomorrow, and there's a chance now that he will start this week.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about Andrew Luck? Will we see him, and should the Colts play him after what we've just saw with Jacoby Brissett there?
Yeah, I don't think we will see him. I don't think it's because of how well Brissett played, but you know, the more reps you can get your backup quarterback, the more experience you can get him, only helps the team in every single possible way.
Yeah.
If Luck goes down again, you got a guy you can lean on. He's an asset down the road otherwise, right? So I think there's no reason to rush Luck in, and I don't think they will. And the fact that they just may have saved their season by not going 0-3 and beating Cleveland. Why not? Give him another week and let Brissett play. I think it's just win-win across the board for Luck not to play.
Yeah, why rush him back?
Yeah.
Like, why if he, the season's not on the line yet. We still got lots of season left. Let him heal. Make sure he's 100%. You know he's a starter when he comes back. It's a no-brainer. Brissett's doing a good job, so let's keep going.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
All right. So as you know, in this show, we talk everything. So we are going to jump from NFL over to the NHL. And on top of the first topic we talked about, the Pittsburgh Penguins have decided to accept their invite to the White House. What do you guys think of this? Is this bad timing for the NHL, or what do you think?
Go ahead, Chris.
I think it's smart, honestly. Like, Don, he's already targeted the NFL. Let's take a team there. Let's keep, that's what they do. That's tradition. Let's go. Let's make, we're doing our thing. Let's go right back to hockey and forget about all the other stuff.
Yeah, I think the NHL is put in a position here where they can, without regret, just kind of remain respectable to all sides.
That's right.
The NHL is dominantly played by white Canadians and Europeans. So, for them to support the protest, and I'm sure they do. I'm not saying they don't support what's going on, but for them to officially do this, and come at it with as much impact as like the Golden State Warriors, or like, it would be out of nowhere, and it's uncalled for. And I don't think they should feel bad at all for accepting the invite and keeping things, keeping the courtesy there and going to the White House and calling it an honor, despite how they may or may not feel about Trump. It was the right move for them to go.
They have the most to lose too. Like if the NHL loses 20% of revenues, like that's huge.
I think it's just a no-lose situation for them to accept it, and it would have been crazy for them to.
Maybe they pick up those NFL fans that have left the NFL.
Maybe, but
Couple statements that have come out through this. George Laraque, of course, says it's embarrassing not only to himself, but embarrassing for the NHL. Sidney Crosby says everyone has the right to go or not to go. We've been invited. We are going. Don't read too much into it.
right.
That's
Love
Sidney
it.
Crosby's
Oh, that's
point.
awesome.
Yeah. I understand George saying that, and it gets him a little, but Sydney's answer was perfect.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, don't read too much.
don't think that we're going here because we like Donald Trump.
Right.
Is what he's saying.
Exactly.
it's a root
They're
tradition.
just going on. It's
Tradition.
It's tradition.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
tradition.
Yep.
All right. So this morning I turn on YouTube like I do every day, check out, see what's going on. And TMZ yesterday caught Colin Kaepernick out on the streets in New York City. He was just heading into the gym. And they were trying to get him to make a statement. Of course he wouldn't make a statement. But when the reporter asked him how he felt or if he saw the players, and the protests going on in the field, Kaepernick gave a big smile.
Yeah.
How does this help or hurt Kaepernick's chances of getting back into the NFL? What took place over the weekend?
I think it helps it a little bit, but not a lot, because I think the owners. I think this has become about something else now. Like he originally he originally protested for a particular reason. And now this mass protest has kind of shifted a little bit away from that, and it's just become a more grand scale. And again, it's almost more about the president of the United States and what he said. I mean, I'm not saying they've forgotten about it, but I just think that like it would be extra, difficult for the owners to turn back on what they've done if in fact it's. If there's and then again, they still have the whole, we don't think he's good enough to be a starter to lean back on. So I think it helped him. Like it helped his chances. I think he always had chances, and I thought there was always a shot for somebody to bring him in if there was an injury. I definitely don't think it hurt. Definitely not. But I think that this whole thing has gone a little too far away from his original intent. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. You want to shine as many lights on as many problems as you can. I just think it's like way beyond Kaepernick now. But he's the guy that started it all, and I think he still has a shot to get in. It didn't hurt.
I think there's the owners, the crotchety old white billionaires. I think they're grinning on one and really pissed off on the other that this all has come to light, because I think they're pointing the finger in the back doors that I don't think they will. I think it's more a hurt for him that this has become now even on a bigger scale. And I think that they just want this to go away. They want this to kind of like, let's that's where I think these owners want to get back to football. They want to get back to making money.
Yep.
They're going to lose a lot of money this year. And I think that these crotchety old billionaires are going to just be like, no, we don't want them back.
I think these crotchety old billionaires, though, are smart enough to realize that it isn't just going to go away now that their, country club bum of a friend Donald Trump has stepped in as the president of the United States of America, attacking them.
Yeah.
I think that changes the game. These guys are smart enough to know that this doesn't just go away now.
Right.
Yeah. So who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
All right, that's our show for the night. Before we get out of here, Chris, give me your final thoughts.
Well, I think like this last week was a crazy. I posted on our site of how crazy that last week was. I hope it's just as crazy. I don't know who to pick for a winner. You look at the games. Who are you going to pick for a winner?
Yeah.
I have no idea after what happened this last week. So
Yeah.
keep that happening. That was
Be
great.
interesting, yeah.
Andy, final thoughts.
Speaking of picking a winner, Chris, you did really well in our pick'em pool this week. You tied for the most amount of points. You went really low on your Monday Night Football total, so you didn't quite get it. So congratulations, Mark Cormier, this
Mark
week's
Cormier.
winner. I'll decide whether or not you're going to get a prize later.
Nice.
We'll talk about it face
He got
to
a
face.
mention. He got a mention. That's a prize, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, that guy would never get a mention. Right.
Ever.
We'll talk, Mark. Well done.
Well done.
Done.
All right. Well, before I give my final thoughts, I just want to again thank our sponsors. Moose Light, if it's a Friday, Saturday, whatever the case may be, get yourself a Moose Light. This stuff is scary good.
Scary.
If you're a sports team, an organization, and you need hats, shirts, jackets,
Hats.
go see our buddies at Doyle's.
Gym coats.
Doyle's Corporate Image.
Doyle's Rule.
And last but not least, but if your kitchen sucks, make sure you get some Done Right sauce, which is their new name. It goes not only with your chicken wings, but your steaks too now.
That's right.
Done Right sauce. Make sure you get that. My final thoughts is I got to send out a big thanks here to Andy. He added a lot more work to my schedule this week with our Canadian content podcast, which you'll find up on the website as well as your iTunes and everything else. I didn't know 100% what to think going into this as far as preparing and editing, and I'll figure out all that tonight. But overall, I have to say that show went fantastic. Our interview was really impressive. So it's great to have a show where we're talking just Canadian football, and it's great to have a show like you just heard here where we're going to be talking NFL and numerous other things as well.
It's nice to get us a little more time to cover some
exactly.
Of these topics,
it gives us a chance to be more focused. So once again, you can find all that material out at our website, firstdownsportspodcast.com. Go check it out. Enjoy this this week's games, and you guys have a great week.
And don't forget YouTube if you want to watch this fly right.
Bango!
No.